Hi Vani, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So Vani, tell me a little bit about your background, what you've done in education.
Okay. So basically, I have done my high secondary in commerce from a commerce background, and I have done my graduation from JD Bill Institute and did my graduation in accounting and finance. Uh,
Okay.
while in college, I also tried out web designing and development because I was always into analytical and logical things, and web designing and development really helped me to explore my creative side and the logical side as well. And now I'm pursuing data science.
Okay. So from your commerce background, finance, web development, why data science? Why did you pick
So
data science?
yeah. So the thing is, I was like I told, I was always inclined towards analytics and logical thinking subjects. I was always towards math, statistics, and coding even in college and school. But when I did take up web designing, I thought that I would be able to apply all this over there. But
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't much scope of analytic thinking because it was just about coding and backend and designing. So it did not feel right. It wasn't complete. So there was a big hype about data science that time.
Okay.
So I even tried it out, and
Okay.
I'm extremely glad I did because over there I could apply everything, my creative side, logical, analytical, everything. And
Great.
so I just went into it.
All right. So Vani, I was going through your LinkedIn profile and saw that you're doing a lot of work with Excel these days. You created certain
Yeah.
dashboards and you're doing some kind of analysis on a data set. So that's good. That shows a lot of interest in Excel. So
Yeah.
we're just going to ask you a couple of questions on Excel.
Sure.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Vani, have you heard about the lookup functions?
Yeah.
Can you
Yes.
tell me which all functions do you know of?
Well, I know the lookup function, H lookup function, and also index and match, which are most of the time used instead of H lookup and V lookup function due to their limitations.
Now you spoke about limitations. What are the limitations of, let's say, VLOOKUP?
So the biggest limitation of VLOOKUP is that it cannot look towards its left side. If we are
Okay.
looking for a value, it can only look towards its right side.
All right. Okay. Good. And what about duplicates? If I have a duplicates in my data set, do you think VLOOKUP can help me to extract more than one value?
No, that's one of the more limitations of VLOOKUP. If
Mm-hmm.
it's looking for a value and there are multiple records of that value, then it will give me an error. It won't be able to find it.
It won't be able to find it. So
No.
it returns you which one? Like which occurrence would it return to you?
Well, it returns me. You are asking about the name of the error.
Let's say no, not the error. So let's say the occurrence of a name is there. Vani is in the list 4 times. So so it has to return a value which is matching
Yeah.
the condition. So which value will it return? The Vani at the first occurrence or the second or the third or the fourth occurrence?
Well, it will choose the first occurrence.
First occurrence.
Yeah.
Okay, great. uh, Tell me that, let's say if I have duplicates in my data set and I want to identify those data sets. I don't want to delete them. I want to identify those data sets. How would I do that?
Well, to find out my duplicate data set, so I can maybe I can use the counter functions over
But
here.
okay, but I don't want to count the occurrence. I want to find out, okay, in my data set, I want some way to be able to highlight, okay, these are the duplicate values so that I can
So,
do the treatment later.
so I can use conditional formattings.
Conditional formatting, right? And if I would want to delete the duplicate data sets, then I would
Uh,
use
so over there in the data tab, we have an option of remove duplicate. So we can select a
correct.
database and just choose it.
All right, all right. You heard about pivot tables?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me what is the usage of a pivot table?
So the main use of a pivot table is to extract a part of data which we want to show particularly, and then work around it with a lot of ease. And the best part is we can easily create our charts and do further analysis on only a selected part of our data or the
Okay.
entire database.
So when you say selected part of the data, let's say I've got 10,000 rows, we are working on
Yeah,
2,000 rows, or are you saying I have 10,000 rows and I've summarized them to 2,000 rows and now I'm working
I've
on it?
I've summarized them. I've summarized them to 2,000 rows.
Okay, so you're
I've
doing a
selected.
summarization in
Yeah.
pivot table.
Yes.
All right. So in pivot table, there is a way, in which you can create a new column for the pivot table, not
Correct.
the master data, but for the pivot table, we can create a new column which does not exist in the master data set, right?
Correct.
Do you know how to do that?
Yes.
What is it use?
Uh,
What is it called?
yeah, calculated pivot fields. Sorry, calculated.
Calculated fields.
I'm
Correct.
so sorry.
So it is
Yeah,
calculated field. All right. And there is another type of calculation that we have in our
yes.
pivot tables, which is called show value
Show
as.
value as. Yes.
So can you tell me what this show value as does?
Okay. So basically, the whole point of show value as is to show my pivot data information as a value of my some total information. Like for an example, I'll give you, if I
Mm-hmm.
have my sales of four regions, right? But I don't want to show my individual sales. I want
Okay.
to show how much percentage is my each region doing out of my total. For example, if
All
my
right.
east is doing 30%, my 28% is doing my west region. So over there, I can simply select my data, right click and do show value as a percentage of total.
Okay. So, for example, let's say you're talking about regions and I've got year-wise regional sales report.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I want to find the year-on-year growth.
Okay.
So, which one should I use? Should I use a show value as or should I use a calculated field?
Since you want to show year on year growth, you can simply use show value as
Okay.
uh,
And which particular calculation in that? Would you know that?
uh, percentage of. And over there, I can choose which column I want to show it as a percentage of actually.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's talk about text functions now.
Okay.
Uh, what are the text functions? What is the usage of a text functions? What are text functions used for?
So the main purpose of the text function is to, change my number formats into textual formats. And the way to
Okay.
do is simply choosing the value which I want to change into some other format and mention my format which I want to change it into near it.
All right.
So it simply
Right.
changes the format.
Okay, so you're talking about the text function. So what I was indicating was let's talk about the whole family of text functions where there are functions like trim and left and right and replace and substitute. So why do we need these set of functions?
Well, these set of functions, as you can see by the name, they are used for manipulating my text and changing it according to our needs.
Mm-hmm.
Like trim functions, they are, I suppose, what I've used them for is mostly for cleaning my data because a lot
Okay.
of time there are a lot of unneeded spaces in my data set, so I can
Mm-hmm.
simply trim them, I can cut them. And similarly, substitute and replace function, as the name suggests, they are using for my replacement substitution purposes.
Okay.
And for example, if I have my data set, uh, a lot of times they're mentioned nil, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the other ones are one in one. So it's not a like right format. If there are ones, so the other one should be zero practically, right? So over
Mm-hmm.
there, I can very easily use my replace function to replace all my nils to zero in a single go. So all this
Okay.
function are basically for manipulating your text in whatever way you want.
What if I have a mix, like in my cell, I have numbers as well as text. So can text functions be applied on it?
Yes, text functions can be applied on them as well because whenever we have text and numbers, it is termed as a text cell only.
And what about if I have cells only with numbers, then can I apply my text functions?
Yes, we can apply the text function like trim over there
Okay.
because text functions do not only work on text per se, but they
Correct.
can work on my cells also on any
On
values.
any values. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think we can we say text functions are used for cleaning and prepping the data?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And do you think they can help us also in some summarization?
For summarization purposes, I have never used it personally, so I would say no.
No. Yeah, we can't use them. All right. Yeah, like I said, I saw a lot of good work of yours on LinkedIn and I saw you doing dashboarding. So why do we need charts? Like you used a lot of charts, variety
Yeah.
of charts I saw. So why do we need charts?
So the biggest purpose of charts is to help people to understand my whatever I'm trying to show my data at a single glance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they just look at the chart and they can understand what's happening in my company and whatever I'm trying to show. And the best thing about them is even a layman can understand them who does not have any idea about data sets or about other softwares, they can
Correct.
easily just have a look at it and understand what's happening.
All right, great. And you use something called donut charts?
Yeah.
Yes, you use them. Okay.
Yes.
So can you tell me, like, what we understand is the donut chart comes from the pie chart,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
bubbles come from the scatter chart.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between a pie and a donut? Like, when should I use a pie? When should I use a donut chart?
Okay, so personally, the reason why I prefer using more of donut charts over pie is
Hmm.
because as humans, whenever we look at pie chart, right, I focus, right, it directly goes to the center of the chart and not
Okay.
the segments which I'm actually trying to show with them.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I use a donut chart, there's nothing in the center, right? So you
Mm.
don't look at it directly. You simply go to the main thing which I'm trying to say, which are my segments, which are
Correct.
my difference, how much of my percentage is taken up by what thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the benefits which I feel is of donut chart, and that's why I prefer to use it more.
Okay. Any other reason why we should prefer a donut chart over a pie chart? Any other situation in which I have to go for a donut chart and I can't do it with the pie chart?
Yes, yes, yes. Whenever you are using a pie chart, right, it can show only one variable at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But with help of donut chart, you can give multiple variables. So it will inside one after the other, they will just come in a donut chart.
Wonderful. So you mean is that if I have two pie charts, I can't basically compare them.
Yeah,
So if in order to compare the two pies, I you prefer a donut chart
donut
because
chart.
they come on top of each other, so you are able to compare them.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about scatter charts. What are the usages of, like, why do we need scatter charts?
So the whole point of a scatter chart is to display my things on an x and an y axis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they take up horizontal and their vertical place values, and just at a look at it, you can see how your data is moving. Like if
Okay.
you see that it's a straight line going upwards, you can just see there's a linear relationship between the data. That means over the time it has been doing really well, or
Mm-hmm.
the relationship between demand and price. So just at a simple look, you can
Mm-hmm.
understand how the two variables are in relation, working in relation to each other.
Okay. So you said, like, for example, price and demand,
Yeah,
right? So on one axis I have price, one axis I have demand,
correct.
and if I see that the dots we are going to look at, or what should we look at? Like, you're saying it's moving up and down, so what am I looking up and down at?
Okay, we're looking at the dots which are connected by the x and the y variables, y
Okay.
values. So if the dots are moving to upwards, that means we have a linear relationship, which means that means with the increase in the price, the demands. This happens in the supply and demand, because in the increase in price, the demand
Okay.
supply goes up, and if it's
Mm-hmm.
coming down, that means there's an inverse relationship. Whenever my price goes up, my demand comes down.
Comes down. Okay. What do you like? What is the name of that line that we draw in scatter charts that helps us to identify exactly what is the correlation between x and y axis?
Uh, I guess it's called the regression line.
Regression line or the trend line?
Yeah,
Correct.
sorry, trend
So
line.
when you draw that, if you find the equation of it, we find the exact correlation between the two
Yes,
variables.
exactly.
All right. Great. Going back a little bit towards back to the pivot tables. So let's say I'm working in an organization and my work is to give a summary to my boss at the end of every day.
Okay.
Okay. What I'm in charge of is recording the daily sales. So I have an Excel sheet where I have, let's say, Monday sales, and at the bottom I add Tuesday sales and Wednesday sales and then Thursday sales and so on and so forth. It keeps on going on. And I have to
Okay.
do this activity for the entire month, right? But at the end of the day, at the end of each day in the evening, I need to send a summary of the entire thing, right?
Okay.
So let's say on first day of the month, I have created my pivot tables. Whatever, somebody was required, I've done that. I've created my charts with respect to that and sent it out. Now, when I'm to Tuesday, if I'm going to add new data set, how do I incorporate that new data set into my summaries and charts?
Okay. So basically, what you want is to make your data source dynamic, right? So whenever you
Correct.
change, it gets incorporated. So
Absolutely.
the easiest way to do so is to always make a data source into convert it into a table
All
and
right.
give the table a name, right?
Okay.
So whenever we make a pivot out of data source, we just refer to a table name. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever you keep adding rows in your table, it becomes a part of the table, and you are referring to the table in your pivot. So it already, whenever you refresh it, it comes over there in your pivot as well.
Good, good. Absolutely correct. Okay, another question. Let's say if I have, a long list of products. Let's say my company has about 500, 600 products that it's manufacturing, and I've got a huge data set. Let's say 2 lakh, 3 lakhs rows of data set I have. Out of that, I want to get or look at the data with respect to 20 of the products that I've mentioned in a particular column. Let's say I have a column in which I've mentioned 20 unique products, and I have a data set, let's say 3 lakhs rows of data, in which I have 500 different products mentioned. So how do I get to see the data of only those 20 products?
Uh, for an instance, you can, if you want to just see the 20 products, if you have more than 20 products, then you can just filter out them, or you can also create your pivot tables, which will help you
So I don't want
summarize.
to summarize. I don't want to summarize. I just want to look at the details of those 20 products.
Well, first of all, you would have to filter out only the 20 products which you want to see.
So how do I
And
do it? Do I do it one by one? All 20
uh,
of them?
uh, there are only 20 products, right? There are not more than 20.
What if there are 30 then?
Well, then you can select the product column. You can just click on the filter tab and filter out the ones which do not need.
That's a lot of work, right? 500 products in total, and I should select 30 products manually or unselect all the 400 and something products. That's a lot of work.
Well, if you want to select 20 products and
So the 20 products are kept in one particular column,
okay,
to identify, okay, these are the 20 products that I need to look at. So you're saying filtering. I agree. We have to filter because, we have to get the details. Like I said, I don't want any summaries. I want the detail of the data. So we are going to do filter. But does autofilter really help me? Because in that, I have to manually do a lot of work.
yes, you could do advanced filtering.
Advanced filtering. Okay. Can you explain me how does that work?
So basically, in advanced filtering, we need to make a criteria table, which we'll spoke of
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. So over there, you can just mention what are the products you want and what are the headings or the other columns which you want, and simply select. Click on advanced filter.
Mm-hmm.
Select your data source, the entire one out of which you want a specific part, and then select your criteria table. So it will
Okay.
create a new table for you, which only consists of the records which you want.
All right. So whether I have 20 or 30 records, that column that I was talking about would work like a criteria table for me.
Yeah,
Right. So it
exactly.
will happen faster in that case. Correct. All right. Simple question. Very, very simple question. Let's say I've got a table, and in that table, there are few cells which are blank.
Okay.
Okay. I want to fill those blank cells, or I want to replace those blank cells with the value of 100.
Okay.
How would I do that?
So the simplest way to go about this is first select your data which contains the blank cells
Mm-hmm.
and simply use the shortcut Control G. So it opens
Okay.
your Go to dialog box. Over there,
Okay.
you have a button Special. Click on that, and it will take you to another dialog box where you have to select the blanks. So what
Mm-hmm.
that will do is select all your blank cells amongst your data set. Now, after you have done this, just without clicking anywhere on any single particular cell, just type in the formula is equal to 100 because
Okay.
that's what you want in this case. Once you are done with your formula, just click Control Enter. So what
Mm-hmm.
Control Enter does is it has already selected all the empty cells, so it just copy paste your value to all of them.
Okay. Got it. All right. Um, okay. One more question. Let's say we've got sales data
Okay.
for 3 years. 3 years sales data I have.
Okay.
And what type of chart should I create to analyze this 3 years of sales data? Let's say every month, every year, the data got recorded. So there are about 36 months data that I have. Now, in order to do a good analysis on it or to understand the insights into this data, what kind of chart should I prefer?
So whenever we have timeline associated with the data, right? We should always go with line charts.
Line charts. Okay, correct. And we spoke about scatter charts in
Yes.
details. Like we spoke about pi comes from the
Donut.
donut comes from pi, the bubbles come from scatter charts. So when do we need a bubble chart? Like we understood how a scatter chart works.
So the scatter chart, as we like discussed, it has only the x and the y axis, right? There are only two variables which it can show. Now, bubble chart comes into picture when we have more than two variables, right? Uh,
Okay, can you give
yeah.
me an example?
For example, like if I have my profit, sales, and quantity, all the three, I've seen in the scatter my profit and sales relation, but then I
Mm-hmm.
want to take the quantity into picture as well. So what my bubble chart does is the x and y are plotting in the horizontal and vertical places. The bubble
Mm-hmm.
chart will, increase and decrease the size of my dots, which will also show my third category, my third variable. So if the bubbles are small, that means my quantity were very less when my sales and profit were this much. If my
Okay.
bubbles are huge, that means my quantity were also high in relation to my sales and profit.
All right.
So
Okay.
they use size basically.
Okay. Uh, have you heard about this function called subtotal?
Yes.
Can you tell me what it does?
So the on the point why we use subtotal is because when we use simple sum and count or average of functions, right? So what they do is if I'm doing them in my filtered data, they take into
Mm-hmm.
account my filtered data as well, which I've already removed. But that's
Okay.
not supposed to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when subtotal functions into picture, because whenever we use that, it only takes into account the data which I've filtered out, which I want, and it ignores the ones which I've already removed.
Right. Okay. Great. Now let's say I have a column in which I've got the first names and the last name in one single column. First name and the last name is
Okay.
there without using any formulas. I know you know text functions. So without using any formulas, if I have to split them into two columns, do you know of the tool that can do that?
Yeah, just you can simply select your column which you want to split it,
Mm-hmm.
go to the data tab, and you get an option of text columns.
Text to column.
So over there you can select that, and you can use your delimiters if you have any. It will do
Okay.
the work.
All right, now let's reverse the situation. Let's say I've got one column of first name, one column of middle name, one column of last name. So I've got three different columns this time. And I want to
Okay.
create a final column with everything, like the first name, middle name, last name. So how do I get that final column?
So to do this, there are two ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is you can use the concatenate function,
Okay.
where you can select everything you want to concatenate and just simply click enter, and you will get the concatenated one, the joint one.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is you can use the ampersand sign, which is the and sign. You can
Correct.
simply use that, and all of them will be joined together.
Okay. Great, great. So you create dashboard and you're giving a lot of information to the end user. What are the typical things that can you tell me a little bit of process of how you create dashboard? Because you've created a couple of them now.
Sure. So, the one thing you should always focus on while creating a dashboard is, first of all, it should not be very flashy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people are going to see, so you want them to focus, keep their attention on your data, not on the colors and all the designing you have done, right? So it should not be very flashy.
True.
And now coming to the data part, the first thing you should focus on at the top is your KPIs, the key performing indicators, which you want the
Mm-hmm.
people to look at. Because that's the most important thing. If you put it down or somewhere, because usually whenever we see something, we look at the top of it.
Correct.
So you should always put your KPIs in a very brief way at the top of the dashboards, and then go into detailing.
Mm-hmm.
Just use different kind of charts to show how you are reaching to those KPIs, or how you are reaching your business goals. So that's the point of a dashboard, and you can also use your different slicers and all to
Okay.
help them, to help the person to change it according to their wish, because
Mm-hmm.
whatever you are showing might not be the exact thing which the person wants to see. So you can also give them the option to filter out or change it as per their wish.
All right. All right. Great, Pani. Thank you so much for your time.